Okay, cool. So I'm limited a little bit on time in terms of trying to pack in everything within 15 minutes. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff very quickly. Feel free to put some questions in there so we can start unpacking those in a little bit. But yeah, if you want to get the slides, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I believe there's one other Taylor Ryan in all of Denmark. So yeah, let's jump in. So about me, we've already kind of covered it. Thanks, Chris, for that. I'm happy to go into that stuff at another time, but let's try to get as much out there as possible. We've already covered the about me. Fun fact, I was actually on an American reality show about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. It was called House Hunters International, and it was about me moving to Denmark. I include the link to that episode in the slides, so if you're really into it, feel free to check it out. My goal for today is to provide as much value as possible. I really hate getting involved with events. When I used to be back in Washington, D.C., I'd go to 2 or 3 events a week, and I used to get so frustrated when it would just be a straight up sales pitch. The whole reason that all of you have come to this is for the sake of getting more value, getting more information. So my goal is to give you as much as I can within such a short amount of time, and hopefully give at least one little nugget of wisdom for everybody that's here and a bunch of takeaways for everybody else. Cool. So my focus today is very narrow. I'm focusing on SEO for video, specifically within YouTube, but there are going to be things that you can certainly use outside of that, and I think there's plenty of stuff within the toolbox of 23 that you could also use. So let's jump in. I don't think you could swing a dead cat without running into something in the way of a statistic on digital marketing and video these days. It's all the rage, and it's not like it's going out of style, right? So it's not like people are going to be saying next year, like, oh, video was so 2019. It's not going to happen, right? There's so much happening within video right now. One of the slides in here basically shows an old chart in terms of the increased investment on video. That's certainly the case within our department over at Valuer. We dropped close to 3 or 4 grand the other day on a nice new camera. So it's definitely happening, and there's so much to go into, but I want to get to it. So one of the things that I think I'll be touching upon a lot is engagement. And as most people are probably aware, a lot of people do multiple devices at the same time. So for those that are watching the webinar, you're probably alt-tabbing between different things, your emails, a couple of different tabs, and listening to the background. Bear that in mind when you're creating your own type of content, because a lot of it needs to have good audio, because a lot of people do kind of put it in the back of their head, and it's something to be aware of. I will touch upon a few of these really cool facts, but I think the most important takeaway is, of course, video is taking off. Using it within email is fantastic as a video kind of thumbnail. It's not possible to embed actual videos yet, but the idea is there's so much more that goes around this idea of engagement via video. So let's dive in. The algorithms are some of the more interesting things because it's a constant evolution. If you go to your current YouTube page and you look at somebody maybe sitting next to you or others at work, they have a completely different home screen. The idea is that the videos that are on there are catered to your previous watches, as well as the stuff that you've liked, subscribed to. So bear that in mind. There is no one size fits all, and everybody has kind of their own catered look and feel. Longer content works. That's what you see down to kind of this bottom left is the video length. The idea is longer content is really what you want to kind of focus on, and I'll show a little bit more of that on the next slide. Obviously, high quality video, HD, or even 4K is better. Google and YouTube want to make sure that people are getting the best experience, so they're outranking everything that was old, that was a bad resolution. Low lighting obviously plays a case in there as well. Search engines are specifically looking for intent and meaningful engagement. This means comments, likes, subs, when you hit view comments, when you like other comments. It's all about this stuff. So one of the things that I think people misunderstand is the watch time aspect. It's one of the biggest indicators of whether or not a video will actually start to rank. So this is kind of like a case study. If you were to make a 2-minute video and you got 1,000 views with 50% retention, you end up having roughly 1,000 minutes of watch time. Now let's say you create a 10-minute video that got the same amount of views with 50% retention just as before. That's 5,000 minutes of watch time. That means you're 5xing or 5 times longer in front of the screen in terms of the people that you're reaching, which makes YouTube very happy because they're trying to reach a lot of people with advertisements. So the concept is long stuff tends to rank better. So titles are great, right? Titles are what really kind of move the wheel or move things in the general direction that you want them to. It must be interesting. It must be engaging. Obviously, thumbnails help too, but titles are what really stick the hooks in. I've included a title generator inside of the slide notes here. There's a bunch of them. SEO Presser is kind of my favorite, and I'm happy to show some of the bells and whistles within that. Check out what ranks, right? Do some searching within YouTube and within Google and see what works. Natural language also is obviously kind of the general way that we're asking questions. We don't search on 1 or 2 word keywords anymore. We're searching long tail. Lists have always been helpful. So 15 things I wish I knew before blank, or 10 different things I should try out when going to blank. You must use keywords or your target phrase in the title in order to really corner the market on this particular phrase or keyword. You need 45 characters basically to kind of fill in that title area. Anything longer than that and it gets cut off, sometimes it doesn't make sense. You're limited to only 100 characters, so you might as well play more with less. And include the key word or key phrase in the title. I'm trying to run through this. So the first 180 characters are basically those viewable lines you can see on that Unilad adventure towards the upper right. There's not a lot of room to really capture people's imagination or get them to engage. But this is where you should have a URL. Those first 3 lines are so valuable. The rest is what they have to see after they hit show more. But there's a lot of value in that too. So you have under 1,000 words or 5,000 characters to start putting in 1 or 2 tags. Well, that's in the first 3 lines, but also additional tags within there. You want to actually include that spoken word or key phrase that you're targeting. And additionally, timestamps allow people to kind of skip around. You have no idea how easy it is to be able to look into a video and go, oh, there's the answer right there for what I'm looking for. It saves people time and it's a better user experience overall. I can't tell you how much I love seeing timestamps on how-to videos. And include your web, social, and relevant links. A lot of the content that we produce over at Valuer tends to be in a blog post as well. So we make a video version as well as the written version of the topic that we're covering. And there's some really amazing stuff that you can do with transcriptions, closed captions, and Casper's going to show you some of that stuff, which is really cool. So in terms of tags, there's some really basic stuff. When you do a Google search, your title is basically one of the things that you can then use suggested keywords to copy and paste. So I'm going to back out of my presentation and show you guys what that looks like real quick. So let's say I'm doing puppy dogs and puppy dogs and ice cream, because who doesn't love puppy dogs and ice cream? Cool. So these are the suggested phrases that I should be potentially also looking at. The idea is these are now my tags. So if it was just ice cream, then the concept would be, cool, what are my suggested tags? Great. These are the other things that I need to be considering as major tags, or even something within the description of my video to at least give it that extra oomph. And it's something that a lot of people overlook. Cool. So let me jump back in. Some of the really next level stuff that I wish I had a ton of time to dive into are some of the extensions. So there's the Keywords Everywhere extension and also vidIQ. I have them both linked in this slide as well. You may have seen the volume and the CPC costs for those keywords. That's the extension Keywords Everywhere. It's so helpful and crazy useful. But if you want to steal your competitors' tags, here's a really easy way to do it. So I'm going to jump back out again, and I'm going to go over to my YouTube channel, and let's say unlimited basil, right? Maybe I want to make something about how to grow your own basil plants, and I'm trying to compete with the most popular video out there. I'm going to hit Control U, and this will get me the source code of the page that I was just looking at. Control F, and I'm looking for the keyword. And the idea is now I have the keywords listed out here. as to what is potentially in that video as far as the tags go. This allows me to capture some of the more challenging tags within my competitors' videos and potentially be able to rank more on search just within YouTube alone. So a lot of really cool and interesting ways to go about doing it. Tags are super important and often undervalued. So that is that. Rounding it out here, we're all aware of what good thumbnails look like. It helps for discovery. We've all been pulled in one direction or another because we saw something that looked absolutely like, I don't know, eye-catching, and maybe it's a pretty person, maybe it's, I don't know, people looking like they're doing something dangerous, who knows. But the idea is you need to preview what's happening in the video. Bright colors will always work. Adding keyword text is incredibly helpful just to be able to discern what the video is about. In terms of faces, this is advertising 101. Close-ups of faces and eyes have a remarkable level of engagement. It's just how we're wired. Anything with strong emotion in terms of those faces tends to work as well. And then bright backgrounds. We've been testing this on our own over at Valuer, and you'd be shocked how easy that is. And let's say you're not great with Photoshop. There's a bunch of different links for how to create these at the very bottom there, as well as in the notes of the slide. So feel free to go nuts. I think there's a lot of cool stuff in there. In terms of quick wins, I think there's a really easy one that people overlooked. The idea is if you're linking on an email signature or you're sending a link out, add the phrase that I've added in here within quotes, !sub _ confirmation equals 1. This basically sends people a link to more or less add themselves as a subscriber to you, which not a lot of people are doing. So this is what it will look like when I go to this link. And then wait for it. Oh, should you subscribe? Fuck yeah, I'm going to subscribe. Valuer's awesome. So that's how it's done, and nobody's doing that. It's the easiest thing in the world. So do that on your email signatures. Do that everywhere. Give people a chance to basically come to your channel and be like, well, I want to watch the video. They'll hit subscribe without even realizing it. It's great. Some of the other stuff that I just want to go through real quick. I'm coming up to my edge of the time here. But within your channel settings, you can go into branding, and you can actually add your little logo there at the bottom, which automatically allows people to subscribe. Generally, if people find value towards the end of the video and they're watching it, they already want to subscribe. And it's a very easy way to give people another CTA, another chance to really get involved. I think it's incredibly useful. Give it a shot. Last but not least, there's a few other little things I'm going to duck into here. Quora and Reddit are fantastic when it comes to being able to answer questions or thoughts or get in part of a discussion. But the great thing is a lot of these different links embed themselves into large visual images that people click play on. I would rather watch a video than read a long form answer. And you'll see this with a lot of the top ranking answers within Quora. Most of them tend to be embedded videos and links. There's too much more to cover. Last couple of quick things. I think there's a really cool company out there. I happen to actually have worked on a previous startup with Brian Colligan. Shout out if he's watching. But they're called Alpha Voice, and they allow you to get involved with Alexa and Google skills, which is amazing and incredible and great for SEO. Natively upload everything. And gosh, guys, I'm sorry. You'll just have to have me back for the next couple of ones because I think I'm running low on time. I would say, yeah, that's about it. I think the last little bit that I want to show would be, yeah, let me just cover this real quick. I promise I'll finish quickly. So the first 3 to 5 seconds are the most important. If you have a relatively new channel, you'll see that people bounce within the first 3 to 8 seconds, and that's not a good sign. So the idea is a lot of people have different phrasings for this, sometimes preview, proof, preview/recap. We do the same thing at Valuer. The idea is to present something that leaves you at some type of cliffhanger or at least pique people's interest. Give this open loop, give your intro logo, and then provide something with fast cuts. Those that want to stick around, you've kind of got your hook in. The idea is those first few seconds are super important. And it's even more so for stuff that's on Facebook because people scroll so fast. Again, I'd love to cover more of this stuff. I'm a big fan of the content side of things, but it looks like I'm out of time. So I think I'll have to pick up a lot of this stuff on another one. But yeah, I think I'll shoot it back over to you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Taylor. That was super insightful, and I actually learned a little bit there. So that's always interesting. We are able to cover, maybe a few more of these things during the Q&A section. I can see there are some questions that cover some of the topics that you already touched base upon, and that we talked about earlier this week that you were going to cover. So hopefully we have a little bit more time there, Taylor, and beyond that, obviously we should do another episode here.
I'm down. Yeah.
Soon, obviously.